All right, happy Monday night, everybody.
Hello.
One of the most requested bands that we've ever fucking had in sound injection with us tonight. Fucking everybody, welcome Killstreak. How y'all doing tonight?
What is up? What is up? Yo, I'm sure you've heard this many times, but that intro music is fire. So shout out, Dead. Is it Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
We're here right now.
Shout out.
Moments right now.
Seriously, we were like, this is bop, and as it kept going, we're all headbanging, and we're like,
Oh,
yeah,
that band
so
is.
sweet.
Look them up. They are fucking amazing.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic band. So we're gonna get right into it and get into some really good shit. And actually, this is for each and every one of you. And I always start off with this question just because I like this question a lot. What was the one point that got you into being a musician? Was it a band, a family member, something you seen, ran into? What is that one instance you're like, holy shit, this is what the fuck I want to do?
I'll start, and I'll try to be brief because I could spend the whole hour on this question.
What's your name?
Oh, yeah.
Who are
I
you?
guess we should introduce ourselves, right? Before we get in the question, I'm Ryan. I play guitar.
I'm Sam. I scream at this thing.
I'm Kyle. I play the bass.
And I'm Robert. I'm the drummer.
And Mike is not here. Unfortunately, he has to get up really early, so he couldn't make it. But he also does guitar. He carries me, in other words. Speaking of guitar, I guess my catalyst. So I remember being real young, probably 6-7 years old, and I was at my, grandparents' house. It's all semantics. But either way, I was upstairs, and I heard this cool, bass sound coming from the basement. I go downstairs, and my cousin's listening to, this band, and it's the first time I ever heard anything heavy at all. And I was like, and it's funny who this ends up being. I was like, who is this? And she's like, this is Godsmack. And I'm like, Godsmack? That's a cool name. I'm going to start listening to them. And I started listening to them, and from there, I got into heavy music. And at the age of 12, my aunt got me, I'm Jewish, so I had a bar mitzvah and I had a gift, and my aunt got me a red Squire Strat, and the rest was history. I just self-taught, and kind of, that's why I'm mediocre, because I'm self-taught. But that was kind of my journey. I mean, and then it just evolved from there, and I got into a couple bands, and then I ditched the guitar for a couple years and did some DJing at raves and festivals, and then I was like, yeah, I'm tired of spinning knobs. I'm going to go back to playing guitar. And then I got in this.
The rave stuff comes up a lot.
It does, because it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun stories there. So, yeah, I guess that's my really short version. What about you, Sam?
Oh man. Okay, so my name is my name's Sam. I do the screaming and this stuff. So I don't know, man. My whole family's kind of musicians. A lot of them. My brother was a big part. My dad, my mom, and then my uncle Mike was out. I'd say kind of takes the cake for heavy music, because I would go over to his house when I was really little, and my brother would be over there, and he would just be playing Pantera home videos and watching all that Pantera music videos and Guns N' Roses, all that. So the main staple for me was when I was watching the music video of Live and Let Die by Guns N' Roses. And it went to the point where Axl just he's wearing a kilt on stage, and he just screams, and all the strobe lights are behind him. And I was like, that's sick. I want to do that. And then, the heavy train just went from softer sounding music to brutal, you can't understand anything. That's kind of in a nutshell mine.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. I mean, for my story, I guess it's kind of more so. I mean, my dad was pretty much the biggest inspiration, because he's a drummer himself, and he plays in a couple bands and stuff like that. And
You play a ton of instruments, right?
Huh?
You can play a ton of instruments.
Oh yeah, I can play. I'm kind of a one-man band. So guitar, bass, drums. I sing. I can scream. But I mean, pretty much my main thing was bass. I started with bass when it came to bands, back when I was 11 or 12 years old. I was more interested in that than the guitar. I was like, oh, they're playing with their fingers on the strings. That's so cool. And the strings are bigger and it sounds lower. I don't know. I just liked it a lot more. I got into that. But I mean, I've been doing music ever since I was in diapers. My dad would have me on the drum kit on his lap and I would just play away. So it's almost like I was kind of born for this. I was born for music. So that's kind of how I got into it. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, again, I'm Robert. No, the thing that catapulted me into it, probably just heavier music in general, I would say was the ATV2 Off-Road Fury soundtrack, because that had Godsmack and Yellow Card and a couple other things.
Yes.
And then I had a buddy of mine, a couple of friends in high school that plunged me into the heavier stuff. So from there, I actually learned from Rock Band, believe it or not, and I kind of worked my way back from that for drumming. So a bit of a weird story, but my family on both sides is also musical, so also runs in the family here. But yeah, soundtracks are really important. Need for Speed 2 was another one. Had a mud band on it.
We were just talking about
yes.
Need for Speed 2 the other day because that was the first time that I got introduced to mud.
Yep.
And I think it was like Underground 2, and it had Determined on there. And then, of
That's
course,
one.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater fucking... That's got so much shit on it. It's fucking ungodly.
Totally. Yeah, when with Tony Hawk, it was like I knew all the songs, and then as I got older and started like getting into bands, I went back and played it, and I was like, "That's that band." Like, what was the Blood something? It was a Papa Roach song. I think it's on the OG soundtrack or the second game, Tony Hawk, and it's Papa Roach, and it doesn't sound like anything like I would, Papa Roach, and I was like, dang, that's Papa Roach. There's a couple of bands like that. I know Power Man 5000's on there, and other ones I can't remember. A lot of punk bands, like old school punk bands that people didn't know about. Now they know about.
Yeah.
Burnout Paradise had a lot of songs on it too.
Yeah, it did. I think Tony Hawk was one of Tony Hawk, Need for Speed. There's a few others that really kind of pushed hard rock and metal to
Mine was Off-Road Fury.
Extreme.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's weird because, we cover all these games with our songs, and really only one of the games we've paid tribute to so far didn't really have a soundtrack as far as like an original score. It was just bands, and that was Need for Speed. And so when we go into songs, we usually try to play off the original score of the game. But in this case, we didn't have that to have any inspirations. So we're just going to be really ignorant and try to take little pieces of all the bands that were on the soundtrack, but without being too on the nose, which we ended up being too on the nose anyways, but it worked out. So, but yeah, Need for Speed is sick for sure.
All right, CB.
So with you guys touring and doing your scheduling and band practice, what do you guys do outside of the music area that you guys cope with all of this?
Cope? Like it's a bad thing?
No.
Could be if you hate your job.
Well, right.
Sure. No, that's totally fair. Well, luckily for me, or fortunately for me, I don't like to say luck because I don't believe in luck. I believe in fortune. But nonetheless, because we were talking off topic, and I'll give him a shout out here. Tom Hazer, who you had on not too long ago, was my music mentor in the early 2000s, and because of him and a few other things that catalysted me, I now work. I own my own full-time music management agency when I'm not doing the band. So I'm very fortunate myself to work in the music industry full-time. But it's a great question because when you work in the music industry full-time and you're in a band, it does kind of become a cope at some point because you're like, I need something else that's not my life is music. So I need to, and that for me is, there's a lot of things, but really sports is kind of the thing for me a lot. And I've noticed a lot of musicians in general aren't sports fans. So unfortunately our other guitarist, Mike, who isn't here, is one of the only other metal people I know that love sports. And so him and I had that to share together. Who do you root for?
Fucking sports fanatic.
Oh, here we go.
Who do you root for?
Yeah.
In what sport?
Well, okay, so you're not loyal. Well, you're not. Are you loyal to one city, or are you just kind of all over the place?
Some of them I'm all over the place. Like with the NFL, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, so we're in the same boat. I'm a Browns fan, and we both suck. So
Yeah.
so that's fine. That's okay. What else? What about? Do you watch baseball?
With love.
Yeah, baseball on the Red Sox.
So how does that happen?
That was for my great grandfather.
Okay. All right. I just make sure it
Because
wasn't like random.
I actually grew up mostly like the Red Sox and the Patriots.
Okay.
But then my family's originally from Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville didn't get a team till 95. So beforehand, I don't know why they went for the Patriots, but they did.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Jacksonville we got a home team, we started going for our home team.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I'm Cleveland all the way because that's where we're located. I've just kind of been one of those people that's like, if I'm born here and raised here, I like entrance. I don't have a choice, which kind of sucks sometimes because Cleveland's not exactly known for good sports or championships. At least we always get really close and then we choke. That's our thing most of the time. Or the Browns are just really just terrible all the time. But that's another discussion. But anyways, yeah, it's for me. It's Browns, Guardians, Cavs, and sometimes Ohio State. But that's sports for me. What about you, Sam? What's your non-music?
So I believe you asked what we do, right? Outside of music.
Yeah.
I'm a tattoo artist, so I stab people and I scream at them and show them our music. What else? I mean, I'm a Marine veteran. I'm a Marine.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks for the support. What else I got going on? What else do I do?
And also shout out to
I ride motorcycles.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm in a motorcycle club. That's a fun fact.
No, not like that kind of club.
It's not a one. It's
They're
not
cool
a
people.
1%er. No.
But also, she said tattoo. Shout out. We have quite a few people who have gotten our tattoos in the last year or two, and it's like the cool that, especially like our logo. As I never thought, and I think I can speak for everybody. I never thought I'd be in a band where people were like getting our like stuff forever on them, and that's like it was really cool. And then the way my mind works, it goes like that's so much pressure. Because like now I have to keep like we can't like all of a sudden suck or get canceled or something. Like we have to like still do because people will look at it and be like, oh no, or whatever. So I'm like, yeah.
What else? I go to church.
Go to
I'm leading a missions trip to Guatemala this summer. Actually, that'll be cool.
And he shows people down. Well, some people our music down there, right?
Oh yeah, it's really interesting. Speaking Spanish. They're like, "That's you." I'm like, "See."
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell for right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Cow.
All right. So what I do is, I mean, I kind of just record music. I'm kind of a producer myself. Excuse me. And I do a lot of more of the gentier kind of stuff. So
what about outside of music, Kyle?
And outside of music, I mean, pretty much all I ever do is music.
Like, what's that mean?
That's like my life.
Sleep, eat.
There's sleep, eat, do clothes.
Do clothes.
This guy
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. Just kind of normal other than that.
And we all game, by the way. I mean, that's
we all
intrinsic
do,
with
yeah.
what we write about.
Obviously.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Your turn, bro. Cool. Outside of music, well, I work in IT. I do systems admin stuff. So I'll have friends randomly hit me up like, "Hey, can you help me upgrade this or whatever?" So that's kind of nice here and there. Aside from that, working on my house, gaming. Now that it's not freezing outside, maybe if it's not 100 degrees, I'll be going for walks again, just kind of wandering around on trails. But I'm not gonna go melt right now with it being almost 100 degrees.
I love this heat. I don't know. I belong where you are. I belong in Florida, but I have a
Come on.
significant other that prevented me from going there. So yeah, we're all very different with the weather.
All right. Well,
Ask away,
which one of y'all would survive the longest in a zombie apocalypse?
Sam.
Ooh.
I mean, he's a Marine, right? Right?
And I'm also a horror enthusiast. Like I love everything. I know. When I was in middle school, I wrote like a 3-page long strategy of how I would survive the zombie apocalypse.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah. Just for fun.
Indeed.
Like it wasn't. Yeah.
And actually, that's really funny you said that because in college, I had to fill my electorate hours, and one of the classes they had was zombie apocalypse course, and it was taught by the regional head of the CDC at the time. So they showed us like the van with like all the screens inside, like you see in a movie, and I'm like, this isn't real. And then we went in, and it was like, they actually have this. This is pre-COVID, so I'm like, why would they ever use this or whatever?
What college was this?
What's up?
What college was this?
Kent State.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. I just had to fill hours, and I was like, well, that seems fun and easy. And then our final was like, it wasn't a test. It was like a paper where you had to write like, okay, zombie apocalypse happens. Are you bugging out? Are you sheltering in place? And like, what are you doing? And I like bartered my way up to Lake Erie and got a boat. And because depending on what lore you subscribe to, zombies aren't supposed to swim.
Right.
So if you're like on an island or something, you're pretty good. But that's
Ever heard of Dead Island?
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. What lore? You know, if it's like what is that? Z. What was that?
Z Nation.
Was the movie
World War Z?
World War Z. Those things that I don't think water mattered for those. I think they were just like everywhere. But yeah, whatever. It's all hypothetical. We hope.
All right. So being that she asked that and you guys said that you were big into the horror films, each one of you, what is your absolute favorite horror film of all time?
All right.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam might have
I'm
to be
gonna
last
go
because
there.
he's gonna like have a.
I'm a huge horror fanatic myself, so I'm gonna go there.
So mine, no one's ever heard of. I guarantee it. And if you have, awesome. And I only say that because it's an extremely independent film. It's called June 9. And the main reason why I like it is it actually.
Did you say June 9?
June?
Oh.
June 9. Yeah,
June.
no, June 9. And it takes place like where I live, essentially. So it was like one of those things where you're watching it and it's being filmed around here, and you're like, okay, this is like too real. I live about 20 minutes from a place called Helltown, Ohio, and it's actually like a abandoned neighborhood that used to be. It's part of a national park now, but it used to not be, and so the government took over, and there's all these abandoned houses, and there's all this lore about people disappearing, ghosts, satanic rituals, you name it, you name the trope. That's part of that town. But they filmed, and they did it very Blair Witch Project style, so camcorder and very low budget and all that, but and no score, like no music or anything, so everything just feels super visceral, super real. And sorry.
Well, we're also close to this is actually where Incarceration was that we played last year. We're also close to Mansfield Reformatory where they filmed Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah,
and that has its stigmas.
Yeah. But
and Jeffrey Dahmer's house is right around the corner.
Oh, you want one of those? I graduated.
I've been there.
I graduated. Well, I don't think I ever told you this. I graduated from Revere High School, his alma mater, Dahmer's. My baby photos were taken at his old house. Creepy. And yep. And I was supposedly, according to the teachers that were there and they could have been pulling my chain, but they didn't seem like it. Because I had a locker on the first floor, and then the year after I had that locker, they tore them out and put new lockers in, and they said like I had his locker. I was the last person to have his locker. So kind of crazy stuff.
I need a new locker.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe that explains the way I am. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, why are you staring?
I don't know, because I'm actually interested in this answer.
All right, so it's kind of a loaded question. So, Halloween. I just gotta say Halloween.
Yes.
Michael Myers is my favorite thrasher dude. Thrasher.
The same.
Tomato.
Yeah. Michael Myers. I also really love
Which Halloween? Because you didn't specify.
the original. I also hot
Okay.
take. I also really like Rob Zombie's
Same.
version. What else? I love Wolfman is my favorite classic horror monster. And and I love like just like mainly movies that just have like a Halloween feel, that vibe, you know, like Trick or Treat. I love Trick or Treat. I love Hocus Pocus. I can
That's a
quote that whole
good
movie.
one.
That's great.
Oh, and then like House of a Thousand Corpses. That is so
we were just
sick.
talking about that yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of all over the place. And actually today, I went with my daughter. We had like a little daddy-daughter date
Saw your
thing,
story. Yeah.
and we went to At Home, and they have Halloween stuff out already. And I got this huge skeleton. He's like looks like he's coming out of the ground, and then this like
Yes.
3-headed wolf Cerberus thing. So
Wow.
yeah,
Sam has a party every Halloween, and I don't know the budget, but it looks insane. Like his backyard.
all the
is just-
animatronics at like Home Depot, I got like all of them.
It's wild.
It's fog machines, homemade props. Yeah, I go pretty hard.
All right.
Fun.
So I guess my favorite horror movie would be the first Silent Hill. I like that one a lot. You know, I thought Pyramid Head, like his appearance and everything with the giant sword, was awesome. But yeah, pretty much it. Yeah.
Mine, I'm not as much of a horror nut as Sam by any means.
No one.
But my my favorite, I would have to say, is Insidious. It's kind of nostalgic for me. That was the first one I watched. I was with my buddy. Partially because that was funny. I was with my buddy. It was like a 60-inch TV in the dark, and I was like, "Oh boy, this is a great way to get my introduction to horror."
Yeah.
See, mine's a little off the beaten path. It's actually a lot of people don't even realize that it exists, but Peter Jackson did a bunch of like grotesque fucking horror movies early in his career. And my fucking favorite one is Dead Alive, or some people call it Brain Dead. It is my favorite fucking movie ever. I love that fucking movie. And if nobody's seen it, go watch it. It's free on YouTube. Just go find it.
Right. Yeah. No. I just watched a TikTok about that today, so that's really interesting. You brought that up. Does I will say one of my I wouldn't count it as a horror movie, but it's horror adjacent because it's kind of funny, but in a horror way. One of my top 3 movies is Shaun of the Dead.
You have red on you.
What?
Nothing. You have
I've
to
got
watch
red on you.
it. All right, Daffy, you're up, girl.
So you have 24 hours to survive. Who are you picking as your person that you have to survive against horror related?
Survive against like it's me,
any character.
so it's me versus this
Yes.
character like on an island or what?
Wherever.
Okay, and I'm picking them because I think I can beat
You have
them.
to survive. No, you just got to survive.
Right.
Or
So if
do you want a quick death or you want a chance of survival?
I see, I see.
Multi-class. You want a multi-class?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're going into.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Cause like my first thing is like if I want to survive, I'm picking Casper the Friendly Ghost because he's friendly.
How many skill
Sure,
points
though.
do I get?
He'll just be my friend.
As many as you
Exactly. I don't know. Sam, answer that first because I got to think about that one. Maybe you do too.
So essentially saying who I could beat horror wise, right?
Yeah, if you want to. Which I know you probably could.
Let's see.
we're both just
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's say y'all are going against the immortal snail.
immortal snail.
An immortal snail.
See,
You
what
haven't heard of the immortal snail?
I have
for me,
not. No.
I'd pick fucking Christine. Just don't get in the goddamn car.
It's like you either have like an unlimited amount of money, but you're chased by this snail that can't be killed, and he's always looking for you. He's always going to
Yeah, but
catch
what if he gets you?
you and you die.
Oh.
Oh.
No, no thanks. I'd rather be poor. That sounds terrible.
I guess I would pick one Resident Evil zombie.
Not Nemesis.
Why would I choose Nemesis?
Well, because the zombie is kind of just like a NPC, whereas
Oh, we're talking like a main
We're
character.
talking about a character, not like an NPC. Nemesis would suck.
Yeah, that would be really bad. Crap.
My thought is like the clown from It, because I just stay away
Pennywise?
from the sewer and then I'm good.
Ooh,
Right?
No, thank you.
Right? But if I stay away from the sewer, if I live in a small town, there's no sewers, and then I'm good.
Just stay out the damn town.
He comes out of the septic tanks too.
I'd say
I'll help you on.
No.
Now I've been imagining him crawling around a septic tank.
I'd say
Yeah.
I'd say the Sanderson sisters, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
not only like a freaking high school kids beat them, right, with a cat, and then they would just be fun to fight because they're freaking goofy and be singing all the time. So, yeah, I think that would be it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Question for me, Robert. You got this one?
Yeah, I don't think I got this one for either of us.
Yeah. I really got nothing.
If it was like any movie character, that's a different thing. But like any horror character makes it so much more
Yes,
difficult.
Sam said
because
horror.
they're
I
all
wasn't
really tough.
I mean, you might have a chance against Chucky. Just
Yeah,
Well,
no, but I feel like he's too
yeah.
scrappy. Like just when you think you'd get away, he'd be like right in front of you or under your couch or something.
or the leprechaun, just get him high and give him the goddamn pot of gold
That
and
might
call
be
it a
the
day.
move. Yeah, that might be the move. Yep. Guinness would work.
I got one. So Sam said the movie Trick or Treat earlier, and maybe I could survive against the Trick or Treat.
Sam.
No,
Sam.
Is that his name?
Yeah, Sam.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
his name?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I thought it was just this little thing.
Fun fact: do you know why his name is Sam?
Why?
What was Halloween called before Halloween?
Ah,
Oh,
I get it.
All Hallows Eve.
Oh,
Before that, it was called
yes.
Samhain. How is Samhain spelled? Samhein. Spirit of
Okay.
Halloween. He's the spirit of Halloween. And as long as you abide by the rules of trick or treat, you'll be fine. But if you
Right.
try to go up against him and fight him, you're screwed.
Yeah,
Because
you
he could
no
beat-
winning.
I
he could beat any of the horror guys. I actually did a research on this.
actually have a
Okay.
tattoo. of Sam.
Yeah, nerds. Let's go.
I have a full blown black light tattoo on my leg of Sam.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's awesome.
that's sick.
That's so cool.
Sure do. All right, so we're gonna get into a little bit of. I mean, y'all are gonna love this shit because it kind of ties into your band and your name. If you could put your music into any video game that you
God.
want,
Ooh.
So,
what
like,
video game would you
is
put
it-
your music in?
oh,
is it
so
has
excited.
it already been made or can it be not made yet?
Current. What's already been made.
Okay,
If
so
something's
I'm
already
not gonna
been
say GTA 6 then because it's not out yet. so I
Yeah,
won't-
something's
I won't.
already been made. What video game would you put your music into?
I probably, and I'm going to speak for myself and Mike, who's not here, because we both have, I guarantee you this would be his answer as well. We would put our song The Fall of Reach in a Halo game.
Mm.
We're both huge Halo people. That was the second song we ever did. And also, like, Halo has a background in rock and metal. I mean, Breaking Benjamin did a song for Halo 2. It's always had, like, Steve Vai was part of the theme. It always has had some sort of like metal alt connotation to their original soundtrack. And so I feel like the song we wrote about it would really fit well. That'd be my answer for sure.
You already know, fam. It's not very practical because our music really, I guess, it wouldn't really fit the vibe. But Zelda, 100%. Zelda is my
Ooh, that would be a
all-time
good one.
favorite video game franchise ever. I'm just trying to envision screamy screams with all this peaceful, stuff.
terrible. That's why
going
I wrote Terrible Fate.
Breaking jars,
on. Yeah.
shaking
Yeah.
grass.
So, but yeah, Zelda.
So there's a video game out there that plays a lot of metal, and it's called Killing Floor. And I feel like we are definitely capable of being on that kind of platform. So it's an awesome game. So if you haven't played it, definitely check it out.
Regardless of our recent releases, my choice would be Elden Ring or some kind of DLC trailer, something that could hit really hard, because that's it's my main series was Dark Souls, etc. So that one's always going to hit home for me.
Nope. Fair enough. All right, CB.
All right. So, what are your guys' worst fears?
I always am afraid of this question because I'm like, someone's gonna watch this back and play a trick on me. So besides the obvious death, which is I think everybody's, I am not a fan of cockroaches,
Okay.
specifically Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
Oh,
Oh, but they're the sweetest.
So
like
I'm
to move
sure
it,
they
move it.
are. When I was 7, somebody got for my birthday the VHS. Oh, I'm dating myself, but the VHS of Men in Black, and a 7-year-old watching that guy with the coming out of his mouth and all that, it gave me some kind of scar because ever since then I just can't. I love spiders. Other bugs don't bother me at all. I know I'm kind of crazy like that. I spiders, I'll let them crawl on me, no problem. But if it's one of those Madagascar hissing cockroaches, the house is burnt down. There you go.
I don't really have like.
I'm learning too because we've never asked each other this question.
Yeah, no.
Aw.
I don't really have like a funny one. Mine is just like losing people. That's the worst one for me.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's
Fair
the fear
enough.
for me. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Solid.
Vibe killer.
I mean, I was gonna do it if he didn't. Mine I'd say is drowning.
Ooh.
Just too much watching Shark Week. I guess when I was like 12.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's what Sam and Robert said was actually pretty good, like losing somebody or drowning and hissing.
Yeah,
or hissing
drowning
and-
in hissing cockroaches
Yeah,
while losing
drowning
someone.
cockroaches.
You're playing Fear Factor right now? Holy crap.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm not sleeping
Ooh.
tonight.
We're
that's
just
for sure.
making nightmare fuel for Ryan.
Yes. So Robert. So like, I was at the beach last week. Would you have gone in the water?
Yeah, I mean drowning is in like
Well, you said
on a ship in the no, I said Shark Week, like Discovery Channel where they
Every
do all
week is
the
Shark
like.
Week in the ocean.
I don't live in the ocean, Ryan. I live like 4 blocks from you.
Where we live. 'cause
Well,
we live
I legitimately know people who won't like put their ankles in the ocean because they think.
yeah,
they're
don't
gonna-
come here because we live on an island. And there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of fucking goddamn sharks.
Oh yeah. I would imagine. Yeah.
You go down to my parents' dock. We've got a family boat. We'll go out there and you'll look down the water and there's like shit tons of hammerheads.
Wow.
That's probably really cool to see, but that's
I
it.
bet
It
it's
is.
pretty.
Like
It is
that,
cool to
that
see.
boat better be well reinforced.
Hey, it is. It definitely is. All right, Meg.
All right. So, what has been y'all's weirdest fan interaction at a show?
I don't know if we've only been. I mean, not only, but in the scheme of things, how old bands are, or how long bands are around, we've only been around since early 2022. So
Mhm.
I think that it's not super. It's not a lot of them. The only one that comes to my mind isn't even like an in person. It was, like I said, I manage musicians for a living, and I manage hip hop artists. So I am not with my career. I'm not in the metal world at all, which is why I like the band. I can kind of compartmentalize the two. And I don't manage anybody locally. We've had artists in 35 states and 8 countries, so it's like all over the place. And I remember I was doing some scouting, trying to find a new artist, and I get this random message. I was already in conversation, but I like stopped conversing, and I get this random message with a link to one of our music videos, and I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, that's my band." And the guy was like, "Oh, really? Like, I didn't even mean to send that to you. I meant to send that to my friend. I didn't even know." So like, he was talking to me the whole time, had no idea I was in the band. And like, he meant to send the video to his friend and he sent it to me and he had no idea that I was in the band. And I was like, what are the odds of
That is
that?
weird.
It was
That's
really
awesome,
weird.
though.
It was like, everybody says it's a small world, but like sometimes it feels really small because it was too uncanny. But yeah, that's all I've got. I know we definitely have others because of shows we've played and other things, but I'll let those guys take that.
Only one I can really think of, and it's not necessarily weird. It's like at incarceration, I told just people to go over to the side so I could come say hi and whatnot. And some people were like, dude, love you. I want to know more things about you, talk questions, all that stuff. But then there's like other people who just like are just so almost like we're a checklist for them. So like people like they'd be like, hey, and then don't say anything, and then just be like picture like
Socially awkward stuff.
without even like asking. I'm just like,
That was awkward.
okay, peace. What's
People
up, man?
freeze. I mean, it's not like we're not like huge or anything, and it's like it doesn't matter because if somebody likes you enough, you might as well be whatever. And I can speak to this the other way. Like we were talking before we started recording that I have a podcast, and I would always like game plan like, okay, I'm talking to this really big rock star today, so be chill, be charismatic, be like, don't be socially awkward. I consider myself like a decent social guy. And then the interview starts, and I'm like, hey man, so how was your day? And it's a good, it's you walk up sometimes. So I totally understand that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, not sure if the person was a fan or not, but like the other day, actually, I was out at Five Below and I was wearing my Killstreak hat, and a girl walked in and she was wearing an incarceration shirt. And I wanted to say something, but I looked at her and she looked at me, and I don't know. I guess she could tell she knew who I was, and her eyes got all big and she was like, oh, and then she kind of just like walked away slowly. And I was like, oh, this is a little awkward, but I was like, I think she like knew. So, I mean, that was kind of the weirdest thing. And that happened maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I think the weirdest thing for me, this might just be something that happens to people, but it was one of our shows, and I was, out in the crowd waiting for whatever to happen. I started talking to this guy, and he was going through some shit. He was talking to my friends, and I ended up spending the rest of the day with this dude because he was feeling down. We just kind of hung out, and after about a half hour, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm with Killstreak," and he was like, "No," but it was just like, that's kind of what it's about for me. Just kind of the organic experience. But I don't know. It was weird, but it was also kind of cool,
Yeah, to touch on what Robert said, is like I've had enough experience backstage and all this stuff and you'll get your rock stars that are real standoffish, and then you'll get your rock stars that are like your best friend after talking to them for 10 minutes. I'd much rather be the latter. To me, it's especially with how the internet is now, and there is something to be said for being mysterious. I mean, look at like Sleep Token or the President Band or whatever. Like, there's definitely a marketing aspect to that you should do, and that's why I on stage and in our videos I'm masked and stuff. I like to give that appearance. But I think like at shows or what interviews or whatever, like I think the more vulnerable you are, kind of the more endearing it becomes for people to be interested in you. Because everybody's always wondering like what's going through their head, or like who are the people that make my favorite music, or whatever the case. And you can be real like arms crossed and kind of just like, I'm too good to show you who I am, or you can be just your authentic self. And I prefer to, and I think everybody kind of prefers to just be that way, because it's a better way to connect with people.
And kind of adding on to what Ryan said there. Oh, never mind. I forgot. I started listening. I started listening to him. Dang it.
I actually had I don't know, it made me really uncomfortable a couple of years ago. So when I did the whole clown thing that I was telling y'all about beforehand, and we were doing a festival con thing that they used to do up in Boston called Rock and Shock. And it was during the day it was a con, but at night they had like it was a bunch of bands that played every night. And the year we played, like fucking Killswitch was playing it, and Twisted was playing it, and there was like a bunch of different bands. Avatar was playing it, and Howard from Killswitch, his band at the time, was playing. I can't remember the name of that.
Light the Torch.
Yeah. Yes, Light the Torch was playing it. So we're out long, and then they had a bunch of horror celebrities and stuff like that. Like Elvira was there, and Malcolm McDowell was there. Well, I was actually standing there talking to Malcolm McDowell, and I was in my whole like costume. And I had a really expensive setup, like mask, prosthetics, my mouth moved, everything. And I get done talking to him, and I'm walking back to my booth, and this girl comes out of nowhere and grabs my collar, and she goes, "I have a clown fetish. You're fucking me right now. Where are we going?" I just
I don't even know how to respond to that.
no.
You found it easy.
I'm busy. And thankfully there was a vent staff that was like right behind me that heard it. And this girl comes over, she's like, "Miss, you need to like go do whatever you do and leave him alone." And like, God, but she was like super aggressive, like grabbed my fucking vest and pulled me down to her face, and like I just started sweating, and I was just like, I hope this never happens to me again because it's not fun. A lot of men might have liked that, but it scared shit out of me.
I would freeze. I wouldn't even know what to do in that instance. That's crazy.
Oh, I wasn't sure. I was like, God damn, what do I do? Like, do I fucking fake faint? Do I start crying? Do I start screaming?
Crying.
What do I do? I have no idea what to do with this.
That's great.
And we've heard some crazy ones. Like we've heard some artists like getting blood thrown on them in a different country. Like we did this group called the Soap Girls out of South Africa. And they went to some, I can't remember where it was that they said it was somewhere in the UK, I believe. And they showed up and there were some fans that like doused them in like cow blood.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta say, and I'm hoping I'm not gonna knock on wood here. 'Cause our fans seemed like really cool, chill people. Haven't had anything like that happen yet. I don't listen. I'm happy for every single ear that listens to us. With that being said, if those kind of things never happen, that's fine. But yeah. No, I so far we have a Discord server that we like to be really personable with some of the people who like us the most or like follow us the most or whatever, and we invite them there. We're always active in there and giving people like sneak peeks at stuff and all that, and just having conversations because like I said, it's better to be that way than the other way, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I hope that on one hand it's like, I hope we do get some crazy stories because they're good stories, but on the other hand I'm like, careful what you wish for. So
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Daff, you're up.
So if you guys can go to any festival, which festival would you want to go to music wise?
Download.
I'm gonna say
Yes.
It would be
Download. That's a good one.
I'd
think
give
of Lamb of-
I'd give anything. I don't even care if I play just to
I just-
go to
Yeah,
be-
is the answer
I-
go
I-
to or play?
I just think of
Either.
Oh, well, that's
play
different.
download.
Play.
I just think
Okay,
of
play,
the
download.
Lamb of God download show that they had back in like early 2000s, and just I remember just watching that on a repeat. I was like, "This is sick." So
Yes.
yeah, download.
Oh yeah.
I would say I'll piggyback and say play download, but as far as just going, I would say Brutal Assault Fest. It's in like one of the Slovakia.
Yeah.
It's one
I-
of those
I-
areas,
to help
and
it.
they
Yes.
play it in a like a 16th century military castle, and it's like the heaviest bands out there in
Ooh.
general. And it's
Awesome.
anything from just like black metal to deathcore, so it's not just like old school and new school. It's like all that stuff combined, and because of the backdrop and where you're at, plus that style together, it's just like the ultimate melding of just pure brutality. So that'd be my attending one for sure.
Heck yeah.
So I'm just gonna answer for going to festival. Wacken Open Air. I think that's how you say it.
Wacken.
Wacken.
It's Wacken.
Yeah, I've heard a couple different ways. Damn it. But just some of the bands I've seen play that just be really cool to see, like Old Emperor, shit like that.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
For me, not sure if it's a place that holds festivals, but Rock AM Ring. I
Yep.
think that's what
Rock
they
am
call it.
Ring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's always been a place or a dream of mine to go to just to see anybody. The amount of people that go to those, that is insane. I've seen videos of like Tenacious D and stuff like that playing, and it's pretty cool. And yeah, even to play it would be awesome.
Totally.
All right, fair enough. So if you guys, each one of you, this is again, each one of you, if you could choose any three bands to go on tour with,
Oh.
what three bands would you choose to go on tour with?
All right.
Good.
I've had this answer in my head for a while. So my favorite band ever is Slipknot. So they would headline. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Corey, and he's like the nicest guy in the world. And it's crazy because somebody who's like that intimidating, and it's Sam's similar in regards to that. Like Sam is the nicest dude, and then when he gets on stage, he's like wolf demon man, and it's kind of the same thing for like Corey is like super like intimidating, but then when you meet him, he's like really easy to talk to. So Slipknot, I would say Amir. They're one of my favorites. I'm the kind of person, and you can definitely hear it in some of our songs. It's part of my influence. I really like a lot of like hip hop influenced metal. So Amir is that way. Like it's very much, even just like the way that they write is very based in hip hop. The third one, I would probably say, and this band doesn't exist right now, but hopefully they come back. Siler.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know if anybody remembers them.
I do.
I've
I've seen them once.
Yeah, great live band. My old band opened for them, and actually, fun fact: a friend of mine who was the drummer, Cody Ash, is now, his name now is Gravy. He's the drummer for, or I'm sorry, Pork Chop. He's the drummer for Jelly Roll now.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
so he kind of glowed up in that sense. But
Yeah,
I would
he did.
definitely like to have them on my bill. So that'd be Slipknot, Amir, Killstreak, and Siler. That'd be sick. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first time I seen Siler, or the only time I seen what they played Welcome to Rockville one year, and
Yeah.
I had never heard of them, so I like to check out new bands, so I went and checked. They were fucking fantastic.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say bands that we would probably meld with well, like to have a good show. Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, Chelsea Grin.
Mm,
And if I had a
You're
bonus,
not making it out alive in that show.
no, people are down.
no way.
And then if I had a bonus, I would say Spite.
Oh, so you just want everyone to die.
God
Okay.
damn,
yes.
dude.
We'll allow it.
No breaks.
Oh man, yeah. This is kind of a little bit of a harder question for me.
Come on, Genty boy.
Which instrumental band?
Yeah.
Yeah, which instrumental band? So I mean, the guy who did the Doom soundtrack, what's
Mick
his
Gordon.
name? Mick Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be a sweet, I think that would be a pretty sweet concert. There's this new kind of, I don't know if it's a group or these two guys or something, but they're called Ninjento.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
That
Ninjento.
would fit with our theme too.
It's pretty awesome music, so definitely check it out. And another one would be Family Jewels. If you haven't checked him out on YouTube, he's pretty awesome. He's a great guitar player or just overall musician, does great music when it comes to video games. So yeah, that's my lineup.
Okay.
Funny enough, my answer is the same as Sam's.
Just like copy pasta.
Yeah, right. But for a bonus round, I'll say the Browning because I'm a fanboy.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Guy.
I love
Shout
the
out to
Brownies.
the team.
Yeah.
Working
Yeah.
9 to 5.
Love them. All right, CB, you up?
All right. So, for everybody out there that's new and listening and they want to start up a band, what advice would you give to them?
Oh, I love this question because it's just like my time to hopefully impart some wisdom. The cool thing about Killstreak is we were all in bands prior to being in this band. And for better or for worse, we learned a lot about things to do, things not to do. And we've been able to take that into this band, and it's become what it has, partly in due to have a bunch of us having, our priorities in order and good head on our shoulders and being a little bit wiser and older and figuring things out. So with that being said, the first thing is like camaraderie. I've been in bands where the band is like a job. Like you go to practice, you leave, you don't talk to people after the practice, you don't hang out outside of the band and all that. And it doesn't really play well to songwriting because then things get tense or things get like just not familiar.
Clashes.
Yeah. So this is the first band I've been in where we all get along really well. If there's any differences, they're creative and they're very quick. We love hanging out outside of band stuff, just bonfires or drinking, Dave and Buster's, just doing some fun stuff. And then the other thing I would definitely say is financially sound. And by that I mean, you never want anybody to go broke investing in any sort of artwork. But if you want to do a band seriously, you got to put money into it. You got to put, and it's not just throwing money; it's putting money in the right places. But you have to invest in marketing, and you want to make sure that people that are in the band with you can, put in their share as well. And so there's no delays, there's no this, that, and because the way I've always done bands, and this band in particular, is you kind of it's okay to spend the extra for the better product, right? If you want the better music video, or if you want the right promoter for your singles, or you want the good artwork, or you want the good merch work, it goes down the line. There's a lot of ways to cut corners, but that ends up showing in your final product. And the first impression is the only impression you get. And so you want that first impression to be one of, even if you have 50 monthly listeners on Spotify, you still want to show fans that you are as doing everything like an A-list band would do, because that will propel you, rather than seeing a band with a low budget green screen video or merch that just isn't made there's plenty of examples. If you do things the right way, eventually things work out. So that's kind of my wisdom on that one.
Mine would be probably, aside from music and being a musician, when you're starting anything and what you do in anything in life, is be a freaking decent person. Like, you don't understand, a lot of people don't understand that, like, the people that they talk to or do things for, all this has ripple effects. And if you're just kind to people and you genuinely like show love for people, and like you're try to be just a good dude, that people will want to support that. So that goes a long way. 2, bring the freaking energy. Like, bring the energy. You want to shock people. You want people to be like, holy crap, yeah, that's it. That's the stuff that I love that. So bring the energy. Try to get your own unique sound would be 3. And that's really, really tough to do.
Yes.
But I mean, and it's a slippery slope, because when you're, especially in metal music, a lot of it is you're trying to imitate people that you look up to.
Right.
So like I imitated like Mitch Lucker, like, because he's like my main guy that I looked up to. And then somewhere along the way, after you are imitating, you eventually start to find your own sound and what works for you. And then once you found that, you build upon it, and then you have your own unique vibe kind of deal. So yeah, those would be my big 3. Yeah.
All right. So my advice to beginning musicians would be go to your playlist, any playlist, and just hit play and don't skip any songs. Just listen to the music, get the inspiration, and that's pretty much all I have to say to that. I've said it in past interviews before, and I'll say it again. So go to whatever playlist, your favorite playlist, and just hit play. Don't skip, and listen.
So I guess I have a couple things. My first would be know your limits. For me, it's 3 bands. Don't do that shit. That goes for financially, any aspects you want to think of.
Yeah.
2, this kind of goes for just life in general as well. Don't take your first option. Flesh out what you can do in the near future. Figure out the best path. Don't just take what's there because it's there. You can find things you aren't expecting right around the corner. Just jobs and such as well. And I had a third one. No, I think the second one's the biggest.
There you go.
Just make sure you vet your choices, because it's like Ryan said about the consequences that come down the road.
And I will say this doesn't apply to every band, but this is something that when we started this band, we all together said, like, we need to do this. Don't forget how to have fun. There are, and this is, I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody because there's a time and place for every kind of music, but so many metal bands these days take themselves too seriously, whether it is through lyrics or through the way they operate or what have you. And that's okay because there is a time to be serious. And I listen to all of those bands. And Sam will agree with me because he's talked about it a lot. We're kind of that outlet. We want people to listen to us and forget about all the crazy world that's out there. And that's why we write about video games, right? It's an escape. And we will never forget to have fun. You know, sometimes it might come off as cringe, sometimes it might come off as on the nose. We try our best to really not be too novelty in that sense, where we're just, if you listen to us and not know that we're writing about video games, you still are like, yeah, that's a dope metal band. It's not like too like, oh, that's instantly about games or anything like that. But at the same time, that's where a lot of the originality comes from, because there's not a lot of bands that remember to have fun these days, and it's okay to have a song about, you know, just beating a boss at a game or whatever. Like not everything has to be so introspective. We have songs that are introspective, but we also have songs that are, you know, really, like, if you look at the lyrics for our Most Wanted song, which is the Need for Speed song, it's just about running away from the cops in a fast car. Who cares? You know, like that's fun too. So that's something that I would just say to anybody. I mean, it's all very subjective, but if you want to start a new band and you want to kind of be a little bit different, just don't forget to have fun. That's a big part too.
Good one. So before we get into it, everybody knows that watches this show, we always play one of the band's music videos at the end. So we do have one of Killstreak's music videos, but before we go to that, we're going to let Meg have the last question of the night. So, Meg, you are up before we get into their music video and get the hell out of here.
Okay. What is something about being in a band that nobody warned you about? Like, what's something that you're just like, that you learned?
Yeah. For me, this is going to sound very cliche and like a canned answer, but I will elaborate on it. It's harder than it looks live. I always, you know, I hear our music and I practice and we do our rehearsals, and I always have this thought, like, I'm going to be, because I watch, you know, live music, so I love going to live music and seeing other bands, other artists, and I see some of these guitarists that are just going absolutely insane on stage, and I'm like, I'm going to do that too. Like I want to be like start to finish in the set, just worn out, just doing. The dude from Tuck from Fit for a King does this really well, where he takes his guitar, wraps it around, or just headbanging like crazy. And then I get up there and I still do it. I'm still energetic, but I'm like, I have a really hard time like balancing that and also playing our parts correctly. Like, I don't want to sound too sloppy either. So it's like, I really give a lot of respect to those guitarists, in particular, because what I do. That can do both of those things really well, where they can play their parts to a T and also be insane on stage. I'm not perfect by any means, and I always self-loathe with my guitar playing, but I've set a goal for myself, is like, if I'm in this band and I'm 34, so this is probably the last band I'm going to be in, I'm like, in my time in this band, I want to make sure that I set personal goals for myself, because we're all setting band goals, and my personal goals to just get better live at having like the ultimate stage presence with the ultimate playability. It's something that I think a lot of guitarists or any instrumentalists strive for. So that's something that I definitely underestimated going into it, especially with the style of music, and it's a work in progress, but you know what it is. Yeah.
Mine would kind of be kind of what I was talking about the advice wise, like about being a decent person. Now that we're starting to get like more traction, I'm noticed myself. Anytime there's any type of hot take or something on Facebook or Twitter or whatever,
Cesspool.
and there's cesspool. and then there's like somebody says something about this, right? There's like my mindset is like I think of the answer to that, and I'm like, yeah, I really don't agree with that. Like, you're stupid. But I'm not going to go out and like say or comment that, because now all eyes are watching what I'm saying, and then that'll affect the rest of the band. So I just kind of keep my thoughts to myself. You know, I'm a musician. I make music. And then I'll just,
There's a lot that you have to keep. You have to keep a lot of self-control for sure.
Yeah, self-control is.
Yeah, it's not
real.
the world that it used to be.
Yeah, you say one thing, dude,
and it's online. There's a lot of people online that stay online. They don't go outside, and those are the kind of people that try to get you in every little way. And as long as you are, apolitical and a this and a that, and don't mess around in those topics, then you're in the clear. So that's our mantra. That's why we're doing games, because we don't really have a reason to do it. Right.
I had a great mentor, this guy named Derek Michaud, who's been in the business a long time. And he was my manager for a long time for bands, and whenever I was in the independent horror movie circuit. And he always told me this. He goes, "You're there to entertain, not to run your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Shut your mouth and entertain.
Right.
You can have your opinions, you can have your feelings, but shut your mouth and entertain."
Yeah, the only indoctrinating we'll do is what our favorite video game is and why their answer is incorrect. That's it.
That's fair enough. All right, how about you two in the back?
So, biggest thing unexpected. I guess mine would just be, kind of what Ryan said, but also just the amount of focus that it takes to stay on track for this kind of stuff. Now that life is changing, just everything's happening around you, as it were. But just the amount of focus it takes to just stay on track, really, with everything that's going on.
Literally, too.
Yeah,
on track.
I went through the barrier.
Oh no.
Yeah, definitely what Robert said. I agree. Is the focus is a huge part. Sometimes I guess it's also a time crunch. That could be kind of the intimidating part as well of being a musician. Is time is such a precious commodity. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for that.
And shout out Kyle. Kyle drives 6 hours to rehearsals and 6 hours to studio sessions. He lives in New York. So.
I do live in New York.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yeah,
maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, he moved about a year after we started the band. He's like, "Oh, I want to stay in the band." I'm like, "Yeah, of course. As long as you're there for stuff, I don't care where you live. You could live in Abu Dhabi. As long as you show up, it's fine."
That's like my band. Our vocalist lives in Texas.
Wow.
We live on the East Coast.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're present when you're needed, then that's all that matters.
It's worth it.
I thought driving an hour and a half was bad. Holy shit.
Right. Right.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So on that, we're at the end. We are out of time. On our way out, if you guys have not seen it, this is their music video for a song called "Terrible Fate." Please make sure you go check out Killstreak on all of their social media stuff. If they're playing anywhere near you, go to a fucking show. Don't be lazy. Go to a show.
Can I interject real quick, because I forgot to make our little. We are playing a show soon. I did tease in our Discord to check it, to tune in if you wanted to hear. We are playing on August 23rd in Baltimore, Maryland, at the what is the bar called? I can't remember. It's a nice venue. It's for BitGen Gamer Fest. Every band has something to do with video games, whether it's just their name or whether it's something they write about. And we are the headliner for that show. So we're really excited for that. If you're anywhere in the East Coast or not, you can travel as far as you want. Come out and check us out in Baltimore. It should be a really fun time.
Yeah.
And we'll be debuting some new stuff too. So that'll be cool.
So on that, we're out of here. Check out their music video. Please be kind to each other. Don't drink and drive. And for God's sakes, wrap your fucking tool. And we're out of here.
Good night, everyone.
Night, y'all.
His life is worth your evil, and must travel for time and take his life. It's dangerous to go alone. the scars of my past prove that I will always have the courage to pull down. Now I embrace this terrible